There you go. Thanks for telling me. Wow. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Grant Cameron, and I have a couple of special guests with me. I had one that I had earlier in the day is Colin Woolford. And we had a discussion earlier in the day about the story we're going to do right now. And we're joined tonight by Gary Schofield, who's an associate of Ray Santilli. And we're going to talk about a video image that has been put up for bid, I guess it is. And we've asked Gary to fill us in on what's going on and what this all means. And I think people will be very interested. It's timely in terms of the amount of UFO stuff that's going and disclosure and all this kind of stuff. So this may be the time. So good evening to both you gentlemen, and thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, let's start with Gary. I mean, explain, you sent this to Dave Altman, who I've got to thank for notifying me earlier in the day. And so you contacted him with a press release. So let's go through what this is all about.
Okay, so yeah, Dave and I have been friends for some time, and I know he's very well connected in the alien community, and it was quite normal for me to send him something new, something that's being done that he wasn't aware of. The frame is from the original 1947 film, and Ray and I just decided to create an NFT from it and also sell one of the original frames. It's been certified, for want of a better phrase, by the memo that came from the CIA that confirmed that the Alien Autopsy film that Ray had was real. So with that verification, we thought it was a good time to test the market and see how it works, see how it does.
Okay, and have you gotten any response since? It's only up, what, for 48 hours or something like that? Is that correct?
It's up for 3 days, and it went up. I think it went up midnight in LA last night, so 8 a.m. in the UK, and yeah, it'll be up for 3 days, and we've got quite a few people watching the auction already. We don't expect a huge amount of bidding until the last minute or minutes, because that's normally how auctions work. It's not cheap, but then it's very valuable. Nothing like this has ever been sold before in the history of the universe. So we expect it to do very well.
Have you gotten any feedback from like British media, the big tabloids and stuff like that?
I believe The Sun are running it tonight or tomorrow morning. They're going to do a big story on it. So no, that's the only thing that I'm aware of that's coming out of the UK specifically. And I understand that runs tonight.
Okay. Question, Colin?
Well, I think just generally, I just wondered who came up with the idea. Was it, I mean, something you both, when obviously you were in contact, you mean Ray lives, I believe, in England still, and Gary, you're in California, is it? Los Angeles?
Correct. Yes.
So I mean, I assume you're still on, obviously, very, I think the last time we had a chat last year in my group, but I think you're still on good terms. So I was just wondering whose actual idea was it? Was it something Ray has come forward with, or you, or is there actually other people in your little group there who?
No, it's Ray. Ray and I discuss these things when they come up. We do get asked to do other things from time to time. We discuss everything and decide on the merits of it. The NFT thing has exploded in the last 2 or 3 months. And I guess 2 or 3 months ago, we didn't know what an NFT was. We all thought it was the National Film Theatre. And now we know it's not. And as I say, it was just something Ray and I discussed. We thought it was a good time. And hopefully we'll be proved right.
Do you think the incentive is then, because it's allegedly, a still from, the original Alien Autopsy footage, as we go with the story now, that the value is that whoever would buy that would then be able to authenticate it maybe as being from 1947, and that's where the true value of the photo lies, or is there something more to it, because it's obviously an alien image or whatever.
No, I think you've kind of got it the wrong way around, because I'm not sure we would have put this up for sale if we hadn't already had the verification. So we had nothing to do with the verification. It came out of the blue. What was it, 2 years ago now? And it vindicated Ray, who's been, you know, subject to scorn on the internet, various other places. And it's, you know, Alien Autopsy is in every top 5 hoax show that's ever been made. And it's not a hoax. I always knew it was real. He always knew it was real. It's been proved to be real. So anybody buying it will get the CIA paperwork, although it's readily available on the internet anyway. So it comes authenticated. It's not something they have to buy and then hope to get authenticated. It already arrives that way.
So this is the papers that we put out, the Kid Green
correct
emails. Okay. There's a question about, maybe you can go through the background of this idea that the film was deteriorated and that you redid the film based upon the stuff that you had, because this piece of film is damaged, and people, there's one of the questions I faced today is to explain the damage to the film. So is this part of the little fragments that were left over when this film decayed? Is that the story?
Yeah, there's, I was in Ray's office when the tins of film arrived from America, and I was there when he opened the tins, and there was a very strong smell, vinegary smell. And then as he started to pull the reel down to look at it, there was black coming off on his hands, and I said, "Stop! There's something wrong here. I think I said it was oxidized, whatever the expression was at the time." So we sent it away to a lab to be salvaged, for want of a better phrase. And over a minute, I can't remember, I think it was a minute and 16 seconds was salvaged of the original footage, of which this is one of the frames. So, and then yes, of course, we created footage to add to it to restore it, if you like, back to a much more usable length. But the real footage was always in the Alien Autopsy. It was always edited in. Some of the edit points were disguised by like a white flash, but they're all in there. So yes, of course, when we put it out, we didn't tell anybody that, but we did tell everybody that 10 years afterwards. And it's just part of the folklore that surrounds it. So this is a frame from the original film. This was the film that was actually shot in 1947 by the cameraman. I can't speak as to why it does look a little burnt at the edge. I don't know the reason for that. But then when the film left Ray's office and went to the lab, I didn't see it again until it came back, or the salvage parts came back. So I can't speak as to why the frame looks a little damaged. But it's old as well. Let's not forget it's very old.
Yeah, there is actually like a piece chipped out of the one side of it, almost like it's like a fragment of a frame, like a set of frames. And there's actually more than one frame. It's like, is there 2 frames? Because you can see part of the second frame.
So there are several frames that were salvaged. There's several, but only one is going to be sold. So Ray protects it. He has it in a what do you call it? A clear plastic case thing. So you can't touch it or harm it. And obviously he has some frames that were loose.
Do you know if this is the piece that he showed to Philip Mantle, talked about a story about being in a restaurant with Ray? And
I was there.
And he had that was the piece that they...
No, you know, the piece that he showed Philip Mantle was actually in that plastic
cake
block.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unless, I haven't been in London for nearly 3 years, so I'm not saying that Ray may not have opened that and removed one of the frames. Okay. I don't know the answer to that, but it's certainly obviously from the same film.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's the same piece of plastic, where it's, because that's what Phil described, was this, it was cased in this plastic, and that he actually went outside to look at it or something like that. And
yes, I was with him. I was there when he saw it.
Yeah. Question, Colin?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a more, I think Grant posted a more clearer image of this. This photo was sort of first released about 2017 in the Daily Express. I think Ray sort of provided it then, but this did seem a bit, the one that I've just seen is a lot more clearer, and it does generally look like, a photo taken from the original autopsy that was shown in 1995. and for me, then that's quite interesting because I mean, if we do go along with the whole recreation, then whoever did recreate it has done a pretty amazing to replicate. You know, if we go along with that story. So I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that.
No, they did a remarkable job. I've never said anything different. It was they had the source material to work from, but even then, you can get it wrong. You can make a mistake. They didn't. They got it right. They did a fantastic job. It wasn't easy, but it was brilliantly done. But as I've said all along, as I said then, as I say today, nothing changes. It was an amalgamation of the original film and the film that was shot.
So some would say this is a bit of a gimmick. This is, you know, like, I mean, are you seriously expecting someone to put a bid in? Like, I mean, are you only accepting over £1 million? Is that how it works on that crypto thing there? Is it a gimmick?
Yeah,
and are you expecting a valid bid on this piece?
It's, I believe there is the ability to change the reserve if you want to. But yes, I mean, we look at what things have sold for. We don't believe there's any more important film or frame that has been sold or will be sold in the history of man. And that might sound a bit arrogant, but it is what it is. We know it's real. It's been proved to be real. I know you're not sure about it, but with respect, we are. And
well, I am. I personally think it's real, but I just don't believe it was a recreation, as I said before. But I mean, you must have had offers before. I mean, ever since '95. I mean, I'm sure you must have been aware that people have wanted to offer money. I mean, did you get offers such as £1 million in the past? You know,
I don't know. And in fairness, those offers would have gone to Ray before they would have come to me. And yes, he has been offered money in the past for frames of film that he's never looked at doing. And as I say, it was just about, I don't think without the CIA papers, we probably would have done this because there would have been too much doubt about its authenticity. But as I said before, we are not the authors of those papers. We are just the beneficiaries of them. And if that makes this the most unique frame of film ever sold, I'm pretty comfortable with that.
I'd like to make a comment here, and some people gave me criticism today, you know, about the selling, and I think we should point out that I don't think neither you nor Ray was a ufologist. So Ray never bought it to be, you know, a ufologist. He was always an investment, and that he has every right to sell this for whatever he wants because he's not in the UFO business.
No, Ray's a commercial individual like I am. We come from the entertainment business where you get rights and you exploit those rights and you make money out of them. Alien Autopsy has been very good to us over the years and has always made us money. We believe we've done a really good job with it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it today if it had been long forgotten. It was funny because some of the younger people who have been involved in helping us with Wearable and putting it all together, although they knew of it, I actually found this fantastic clip of Kramer and Newman from Seinfeld sitting on a park bench at an opening and they're talking all about Alien Autopsy, and the younger people could not believe it was that big a deal because they weren't around in the mid-90s for it to garner its own scene in Seinfeld as it did in The Simpsons and The X-Files and many other things. So its place in history is well established, and I'm very proud of what we've done with it and how we've kept it alive all these years.
Ray himself seems rather reluctant to talk about it, so I was quite surprised when, you know, this story came out today. He always comes across a bit grumpy, dare I say, in some of my communications, and maybe he's kind of fed up with it. So why the sudden change of heart to sort of bring it back out again now at this time? Is it because what's happening? I mean, these stories about the Pentagon and all the UFO stuff that's in the news that you might be aware of, is there anything there, or is there other reasons, do you think? And will Ray actually ever talk to ufologists again?
You are right in that the climate has changed, and the whole disclosure thing and other stories that have appeared, other clips that have appeared have brought UFOs and aliens back into people's consciousness. So the timing was right from that point of view. But the biggest decision was based on the fact that we had this paperwork from the CIA and the fact that no one knows how long NFTs are going to be a big deal. They could last another 6 weeks, 6 years, or 60 years. I haven't got a clue. But we need to wait to find out, because we have what we have. We have very good partners that we're working with, who are very, and Wearable have been fantastic with us and helped us a lot in putting this together, and they believe in it as we believe in it. So just sometimes things come together and the next thing you know, it's there, and that's what's happened. So just a shout out to Masha and Rob and Alex and Owen, all the people who worked really hard on this to put this together. And Ray probably will do an interview somewhere or do something along the way. He's not ashamed of it. He's proud of it. And he's proud of this opportunity and the fact that we've been able to do something about it.
Yeah, he did do one interview with me, so I'll give him credit for that. He did when we got the paperwork, which I think he was happy to see the paperwork when we got that Alien Autopsy document. Can I ask a question? Somebody asked me about the thing where they're saying, well, how did the CIA allow you guys to hold the film all these years? Did they ever try to get it? Did you ever get any impression they were trying to get it back, or were they disturbed by this? Or
no, it was. I think Colin probably remembers this as well. At the time when we did Alien Autopsy in ~95, we were invited to the Pentagon to show them the footage. I didn't go. Ray didn't go. A guy called Chris, who was working for us, who was an American, actually went over to the Pentagon and showed the footage. And like the movie, the Ant and Dec movie, which we're also very proud of, they thought it was hardly entertaining. So no take it back, no attempt to remove it from us. So, and nothing since to suggest that they, and the fact that even in the paperwork, they refer to Ray's name directly with the footage, would suggest that they're accepting of the fact that he has it and he acquired it and that it's his. So yeah, that's the answer to your question.
Okay. Colin, you got anything else?
Yeah, well, but I mean, obviously there's so much to say. I mean, I know we talked a bit about, it was quite, even on Ray did a recent interview with Philip Mantle, a 4-part documentary, which Ray had a few clips in. And I think a lot of the people who were working for Ray, they were quite scared at the time because there were these things like break-ins, and I know we've talked about this before, but I know that you've had like cars and the studio and even houses, so when people say if it was all such a hoax, and as some people say, and obviously you're not saying that, you're saying it's a recreation, but there was a very serious side to this subject, and I guess people think that you've just in it, for the money, that you made all this money in that. But back then, I guess these were quite, scary times for you and Ray. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. I got a death threat on a phone call at my home with a death threat. Ray was physically attacked as he was getting into his car. I had to go to the hospital with him. Quite seriously attacked. He also received various threats in terms of break-ins. There were break-ins. There was a break-in at the office. There was a break-in at another place. And these things happened. But it was very high profile then. It upset a lot of people, and unusual people like religious leaders and people who are worried about the fabric of society and what, the alien autopsy might mean to that fabric of society and all the rest of it, which I suppose as time has gone on, people have become less afraid of an alien situation. And, there's never been any evidence of alien aggression towards human beings outside of the movies. So should they ever decide to come and land here and whatever, then people will probably be a bit more equipped for it than they would have been back in the mid-90s. But they were scared, and unfortunately, we bore the brunt of some of that fear, and that's life. That's, you can't win the raffle if you don't buy the ticket.
Are you concerned about this supposedly tell-all book by Mr. Molaris, the magician, who claims that he filmed? I mean, that's been 70. I think it's been like 13, 14 years in the making, and I know it's supposed to come out, and I know he claims that it was this, because of the COVID, that's been pushed back, and it's maybe out this year. Who knows? I mean, but as I say,
not afraid of any of it. I don't have any fear of anything he has to say. He shot the footage that we added, did an absolutely fantastic job, an excellent job. He was well paid for it, and that's all I have to say on the subject. I'm not fearful of anything he has to write or to say, and this doesn't involve him. This is not a piece of film that he shot. This is a piece of the original film, so this auction has nothing to do with him. But I suspect he will, if he hasn't finished his book, make mention of it in his forthcoming novel, which I will look forward to. But I've never seen the 4-part documentary, by the way, the Philip Mantle one. I've never seen it, which is my own fault. I just haven't had time to watch it, but I will at some point.
Oh, how do you feel about? I know we talked about this before, but like for me, you take a more conspiratorial, aspect to it, and when I sort of suggest that you're sort of puppets and you're being, the puppeteers are kind of behind the scenes telling you. I kind of feel like both sides are controlled, like Spiros and then Ray and Gary. So, but you've got the same sort of puppeteers. It's like, that's my personal opinion. And not just to make people aware, that's what my view is on my Alien Autopsy Analysis Facebook group, if you want to check that out. But how do you plead to that? But there's people in the background telling you, you got to say this at this point, do this at that point, and things like that. And what do you just think that's the ramblings of a conspiracy theorist, or how do you see that sort of?
No, it's funny. When we did the movie, they asked the same question, and we said that so many things went right for us that we felt like we were getting help, even though we didn't know there was no tangible help. We just that, that expression would say someone's, watching over me. It kind of felt a bit like that because just certain things fell into place at the time. And it may have been no more than just fate and good luck, but there was always that feeling of someone's watching out for us, or someone wants this to come out, or whatever that may be. But there's never been anyone who's ever approached me or Ray that I'm aware of who've ever asked us to do anything or say anything or in any way portray this other than the way that we have done since day one. There is no one pulling any strings in the background. I have no idea if anybody's ever called Spiros because I haven't spoken to him for many years, but I certainly have never been called or asked to do anything. But I have felt blessed by it. And whether that blessing comes at the hand of some hidden force that I know nothing about, or whether it's just, fate and good fortune, I probably will never know the answer to that.
That's the question I'd ask you. I guess you feel this is the highlight of your career in terms of stuff you've gotten. And related to that, because Ray had this piece, did you guys ever have other people offering you other stuff that was floating around or even?
Yeah, we were offered lots of things from different places, different varieties of footage and pictures and various other things. I can't really go into what they were, but some things we wouldn't touch, we didn't want to be involved in. Other things we didn't believe were real. Obviously, a lot of other alien stuff came our way. But to answer your question, Ray and I both have a life outside of aliens, and we are entertainment people. I personally am regarded as one of the world's leading hologram experts. I build dead people. So I did Whitney Houston and Roy Orbison, Buddy Holly, and I get a lot of pleasure out of doing those shows and rebuilding these people and bringing them back. And Ray's had a very successful career in music and distribution. And people forget that there are other sides to our lives and our families. We're families as well. My son Luke was in the Oscar-winning movie Jojo Rabbit and is very successful as an actor. Ray's son Luke, coincidentally, is a photographer who's also doing very well. So we do have lives outside of it. But as I've said before, I'm very proud of Alien Autopsy, very proud of the movie, very proud of everything we've done, and also very proud of the way we've sort of ridden some pretty rough waters over the years and still come out the other side with the help of people like Colin, who I would like to thank, because he's always been a good supporter and a friend to us. Even though I don't know him very well, I've always respected his opinions and his thoughts. And so thank you to Colin.
Well, that's very kind. Are you planning to do a holographic alien autopsy? Are you going to work that into? Because I got the press release and there was something about LA doing something tonight or something, some red carpet event or something. I don't know.
No, there's a. I'm actually in Vegas now for there is an event. It's more of a press event at a company called Dreamland. Chris is a good friend of mine. He's the producer of Unacknowledged, which I'm sure you know, the documentary that's on Amazon, which is, I love it. He and I are good friends. I can never remember how to pronounce his last name. It's Chris Crescitelli. I should know how to pronounce it, but anyway, and he's a huge Alien Autopsy fan. When we met, he had no idea who I was, and he's staging this event tonight, inviting lots of people to come. They are putting the frame of Alien Autopsy in a portal hologram unit, and so it will be hologram, not an actual alien, but the frame of film itself. So that's tonight here in Las Vegas, which is why one of the reasons I'm here. And I'm looking forward to that.
Wow. I have nothing more. Have you got anything else, Colin? And we can... Well,
I'll just say, is the bottom line then it's purely, I mean, the story has come out, is really to make money once more from these images, and do you actually expect seriously someone to put a bid in for it, and you know, are you going to accept below a certain price? Or but yeah, so what is, well, I mean, obviously it's going to generate, you know, like in the press, if it's in the, you know, I can see the Daily Star's been doing a lot of UFO stuff lately, and then you mentioned some, but yeah, what is, you know, the crux of it for bringing it out? Is this money planned to raise money for the company, or what? So what's the bottom line? Would you say
it's no different to anything else we've ever done? It's a commercial enterprise for us. It always was. We never ever said anything different. And this is a commercial opportunity that we have jumped on. If somebody pays $1 million plus or £1 million plus for this, I think in the NFT world, they will have a bargain, because its significance is why we're on this call now. Because this came out in '95, we're still talking about it. It's been, you know, likened to the Zapruder film, but in some ways more important because of the fact that it's the only verified anything to do with aliens that has ever been put up for sale. And I think if someone paid $1 million or $2 or $3 or $5 or even more, they would be getting something truly unique. That is the whole ethos behind NFTs.
Yeah. I think you don't. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So you're not worried about it affecting your, you know, how people see you. I mean, they've always got an opinion of, but you don't see it as any, you know, a further a discrediting of you, and, like, you know, purely in it for, you know, the money. So you're not concerned about that sort of aspect and sort of.
No, not in the least. We were same comments came up when the movie came out. Same comments have come up when other things have come out. It doesn't make it. We're just, you know, entertainment entrepreneurs that have an asset that we're pretty good at making money from. And again, it allows people like us to have these conversations because it's interesting. If it wasn't interesting, we wouldn't be doing this. And as I say, this is not my daily life. This is not Ray's daily life. This is something that we do every so often. And tomorrow I'll be working on holograms again and making wonderful holograms that you'll be reading about in the papers just as much as you read about Alien Autopsy.
Well, just one last thing I'll say, Grant. It's just I know you didn't see, Gary, the documentary, but I know Ray was asked about this other autopsy, and I have talked about it to you previously, and you didn't know nothing about that because you're in America. But allegedly, if you believe Spiros, that was you know, a failed attempt at, with an incorrect medical procedures. But personally, I mean, I know a few researchers did see this other autopsy supposedly with the being's legs intact and a more gynecological view and things like that. And I just like to say that I'm sure if people could spend £1 million on one frame, I'd think if that film was true, which I do believe that it is, then I think you'd be getting a lot more money for that piece of footage if it can be found, regardless if someone believes they made it. I think if that footage was released, I think you make like 100 million, you could sell that all over again. So it just, that's my closing remarks really, that other piece of footage needs to come out, and maybe Ray should be chasing up Mr. Spielberg, Volker Spielberg, or whoever's allegedly got this other piece of footage, even if it is a recreation and it has been filmed and it has been made by Gary and all this stuff. Because I think if you can have moving images, and that what Philip Mantle and Maurizio Beata saw back in April '95, that would be far more valuable than one frame of film. So that's just my last point. I don't know if you've got a comment on that, but that's just my
I can tell you categorically without any hesitation whatsoever, the only real alien footage from 1947 is what is in the 18 odd minutes that has been out for many, many years, which is called Alien Autopsy. If there is another autopsy or anything out there, I do not know how anyone could even imagine it would be anything real or anything of any value, because at the end of the day, the only thing of any value is something that somebody other than Ray and I says is real. And that's what the CIA have done. They've said this is real, and we are grateful for that. And we would only sell something that relates to that particular verification. And if there is something else, I'm afraid I can't add anything more about that, but it won't be what we're selling now, which is, in my opinion, worth millions and millions of dollars.
Okay, we shouldn't. I should just mention also the debris footage, because we didn't mention that, and that's also seen as connected to those films. So that's just for something else. For people who are new to the subject, they might want to check it out. Orbital Media on YouTube, the actual footage of the whole film. If you've been living on another planet, as I said earlier, and you don't know what you don't appreciate that people weren't even alive when this film came out. So if people haven't seen it, then I suggest people do their own research, read books, read Philip's book even. I don't want to be too critical of Philip. I know he disagrees with me, but people make up their own mind, and maybe if Spiros's book come out, get that out, because I know I'll be analysing it myself. But yeah, thanks Gary for.
And watch the movie, because I love the movie.
I know, yeah, and I was so wanting to show that in the Omega conference in Laughlin, Nevada last year, and sadly it didn't work out due to certain threats by certain people, so I couldn't do my presentation. But that would have been great, because I think people in America haven't seen that on the big screen, and I think it deserves to be seen on the big screen, even if I question what its purpose that film was, and for me it's a bit disinformation, but it's still worth watching. And if people have never seen it, then check it out.
I love it. Thank you for that.
Okay, I just got a final comment, and then we'll shut it down. As you know, I got the Alien Autopsy document from Australia. And when I was also given the Wilson leak document, which was very controversial. And I remember when I got the Alien Autopsy document, the guy really didn't want it out there. He said, "Oh, I don't think this is real." He gave me a document. I thought the Alien Autopsy document was the better of the two. And so I'm very glad you've come forward with this and revived this thing. And I wish you all the best in this. It's been a thrilling time, and I think you've hit the iron when it's hot, and I think you're going to get a lot of feedback. I've even heard a number of people that have been approached to buy the film, a lot of big name money people in the UFO field. And I would not be surprised if one of those people gets it, because if you've got billions of dollars, and you got a chance to get this piece of history, we'll see where it goes. But I appreciate you coming forward, because I know it's every time you come forward, you have to face a lot of criticism and a lot of flack and a lot of questions. So I appreciate your doing this, Gary.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the time and the platform. And Colin, thank you for your input as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Bye-bye. We'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.